Hi, I'm Jim Jubek, and welcome to my YouTube video, Hot Button Money Plays Now. Today's Hot Button Money Play is Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG. There are two reasons to do this and one reason not to do this. Let's talk about the reason not to do this first. Valuation. Like many other stocks in this market, Chipotle's valuation is extremely high. It's had a long run, and that high valuation makes it susceptible to any kind of correction. You've got basically a momentum and a earnings momentum stock. So I'm not necessarily sure that owning it here is something you want to do for the long term. I like Chipotle for the long term, but over the long term, I'm worried about the valuation. In the short term, however, I think there are good reasons to own it now. First, we just had first quarter earnings from Chipotle, and to say that they blew out Wall Street estimates is an understatement. So basically, you had non-GAAP earnings per share of $13.37 that beat by $1.70. Revenue of 2.8 billion beat by 30 million, and that was a almost 14% increase in revenue year over year. Operating margin 16.3%. Beat the consensus estimate of 15.37. Gross margin 29.5 versus the Wall Street estimate of 26.17. So what you've got here is better than expected revenue growth, better margins than expected, leading to a higher earnings per share growth. And what we're seeing basically is that Chipotle has done a number of smart things. One is that it's really built out its membership program so that it's now got a lot of people online who get special offers, et cetera, et cetera. Those are very loyal customers. And those customers are then hooked into the Chipotlane drive-through pickup windows where you can basically order at home, pick them up on your way through. Again, very, very smart, very for this time. And so what we're seeing is restaurant growth. They added about 47 new restaurants in the first quarter. Of those, 43 were Chipotlanes. And for 2024, they're looking at adding 285 to 315. So not a huge growth, but we're also seeing comparable sales grow, and they're projecting at middle to high single digits. So we're seeing growth in sales at existing stores. Menu prices were increased in October of 2023. It doesn't seem to have led to any drop off in sales or any flight of customers. In many ways, I think Chipotle is benefiting from inflation because after all, everybody's doing it, raising prices that is, and everybody understands why you have to. So Chipotle has added a number of upper end items that justify the prices. So again, I think that things here are growing strong. So a couple quarters, yeah. A correction when the economy slows, yes. But when is that going to be? I think we're looking at good growth throughout 2024. Okay, the other reason to do this is that Chipotle's board voted to do a 50-to-1 stock split. Okay, that stock split hasn't yet been ratified by the annual meeting, which takes place on June 8th, and it won't go into effect for shareholders of record as of June 18th. So you've got a fair amount of time to go before this really kicks in and people start buying it because of the lower share price. Now, I know the financial theory says that there's no real reason for a stock to rally on a stock split. You're just getting more shares. It adds up to the same price. So what's the difference? But however, it's very clear that we do get some kind of bounce. So I would be expecting, especially if you're looking at a 50-to-1 split, whereas a lot of people have not bought Chipotle because it's too expensive at its current price. Well, at a 50th of this, they would say, oh, I've always wanted to own this stock, so let's go ahead and buy it. So in the short term, I think this is another reason to own this stock. I would try to buy it before the June 6th annual meeting with the attempt of getting in on this and look forward to a couple of quarters of solid growth before I need to worry about the fact that valuation is really too high and any slowdown is going to whack this stock. So that's why it's a hot button move now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's free. That way you get notification of when we do our next one. We're trying to do about 3 a week, not always on the same day. If you would like more of my free stuff, you can sign up from my jubakpicks.com free site. It's got 3 portfolios, 12 to 18 months, dividends, and 5 years and longer. And it's free, usually 1 or 2 posts a day. If you want more than that, somewhere 3, 4 posts a day, usually 6 portfolios instead of 3. So those 3 plus an ETF portfolio, a volatility portfolio, and a really long-term, beyond 5-year portfolio. You can subscribe to my jubakam.com site. You find links to all those down below. And down below, you also find a link to my Substack. My wife and I moved to Italy. We've had a long-term goal of doing that. We moved to Italy in September. We're going to be here for a few years. And we started a Substack, which is also free, about our adventures in moving to Italy. So, for example, the most recent one is about the Venetian dish called risi bisi, rice with peas for spring. Originally served to the Doge, tradition has it in Venice, in 925. Yes, it's indeed a new menu offering. 925. It's hard to imagine a place which has that much history, but Venice does. Okay, so if you like that, you'll find it. You can sign up. We're doing 1, 2, 3 a week. Love to hear from you in the comments. It's mostly for fun. It's all for fun. So sign up. It's for free. You'll find a link to that down below too. So see you next time. Ciao.